Complex numbers. What are complex numbers? So remember in our previous video we said uh, irrational numbers are mostly square roots of prime numbers, odd numbers. So numbers that technically do not have perfect square, mostly, not all of them, but most of them. And also numbers like pi. Pi is an irrational number. Pi is an irrational number. But what about square roots with negative numbers? Square roots involving roots involving negative numbers like -4. So if you try to simplify this, well, negative times negative is positive, right? Is positive. Positive times positive is negative. So these do not have perfect squares, and these are what we call complex numbers. Complex numbers. So let me write that down properly. Complex numbers. Now, get that again. Okay. An example of a complex number is the one I gave, -1 over -4, square root of -4. Now, if we are told to simplify this, well, technically we cannot, it does not have a perfect square, and well, because of the sign that will make things even harder. So the thing about complex numbers is we introduce, well, we introduce this I is equal to I. So this I is a complex number. So this helps us simplify situations like this. So based on this, we can say, okay, we can say root of -4 is equal to root of 4 times root of -1. And remember we said root of -1 is I. So this would simply be root of 4 I, and we know root of 4 is 2, so our final answer will be 2I. So that would be the answer. Now let's try to solve more examples. Okay, suppose we have root of 9, so root of -9, so we said I is equal to root of -1. So in this case, so we say -9, the root of -9 is okay, which will be times root of -1, which is equal to root of 9 negative. Okay, root of 9I, and we know root of 9 is 3, so this would be 3I. Let's try another example. Okay, now suppose we have I. We said I is equal to, well, root -1. So technically I squared would be equal to, well, negative 1 I squared, which will be equal to negative 1. So I squared is equal to negative 1. And if you had something cubed, this would be equal to, so we'll do the same thing, negative 1 cubed, which will be equal to 1 and the I, which is equal to negative I. Then we go back to write I to the power 4, which is equal to I squared, which is equal to 1, because I squared is, well, negative 1 and I squared is negative 1, so together make 1. So we try one more. Let's try I to the power 5, the power 5, which would be I squared, I to the power 1. So it should be 1, which should be simply I. Okay? It should simply be I. So you can keep doing this and try to master this, so that as we go on, as things get more complicated, you easily know, okay, so if we've got I squared, then it will simply be negative 1. If we've got I to the power 3, it will simply be negative 1 again. So it will simply be 1, not negative 1, so negative I, sorry, simply be negative I, negative 1. Okay, so that's it for this video, and keep trying this, try this out, and see you in the next video.